Okay, so I was asked to work through this problem. We want to solve 2 times cosine x equals the square root of 3. And we want to work on it from negative 2 pi to 2 pi. Those are in radians. So just to remind ourselves on the unit circle, if you're talking from negative 2 pi to 2 pi, we're talking about negative 2 pi would be from the beginning around that way all the way back. So negative 2 pi is here at the beginning, and so is 2 pi, right? Because that's from here all the way back also. So the only thing we got to kind of keep in mind for this is that we're going around the unit circle both in the one full round in the positive direction, one full round in the negative direction, because we're going from negative 2 pi all the way back to 0, and from 0 all the way back to 2 pi. Okay? So essentially we're covering everything twice. What we're really doing is covering all the options of the unit circle angles in negative and positive radians. So in a lot of ways, it's pretty simple to solve. You just divide by 2 on both sides, so you can isolate the cosine of x equals square root of 3 over 2. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, so you've got an angle right here, that's what we're talking about, and the goal is to ask the question, what angles, when I take their cosine, give me a value of positive square root of 3 over 2. So let's remind ourselves about our all scholars take calculus. And that tells me that I'll be looking in the all quadrant and the cosine quadrant. And what I want to know is if I can get one of them, I can sort of get all of them. So what's the initial angle in the first quadrant in the positive direction that when you take its cosine, you get square root of 3 over 2, and if you look back, you'll see that that angle is pi over 6. That's the angle that gives us, when you take the cosine of pi over 6, you get square root of 3 over 2. Okay? And then, what is the negative angle that goes with that? Because remember, in both of these quadrants, we want the positive angle and the negative angle. Let me draw another small one here. So we know pi over 6, which is about there. So I want the positive angle, which looks like that, and then I want negative angle, which is going to look like that. And that negative angle is almost all the way back to negative 2 pi, right? Not quite, though. It's a pi over 6 away from that. If I went all the way around, because all the way around would be negative 2 pi, and as pi over 6 is, that would be negative 12 pi over 6. So the coterminal angle in the negative direction for that is negative 11 pi over 6. Okay, so that covers the first quadrant. So let's take a look at a simplified unit circle again, And then we want to look at the fourth quadrant, and we want the same thing. We want the pi over 6's in the fourth quadrant, which if I just go from there to there, that's negative pi over 6. And if I go in the positive direction, again, that's almost 12 pi over 6, but it's 1 pi over 6 away from that, so it's only 11 pi over 6. Okay, so that covers everything in this first and second quadrant. Covers everything, or not second, I'm sorry, first and fourth quadrant. Covers everything in that first and fourth quadrant, that when you take their angles, both positive and negative, you get an answer of square root of 3 over 2. So then you could write them in order from smallest to largest, from left to right on the unit circle. You could write negative 11 pi over 6, negative pi over 6, pi over 6, and 11 pi over 6. Okay, so that's how you do a problem like that. Thank you.